I'm muting mine as well.
All right, and we are live. Welcome, everyone. And Pete, feel free to jump right in then.
Thanks, Ward. Welcome, everyone. I know you're all very busy, so we very much appreciate your taking a little time out from your schedule today to join us for this TA Tech webinar on the upcoming TA Tech Industry Congress. A fair number of you, however, are not members of TA Tech, so I thought I'd take just a moment and introduce you to the organization. TA Tech is the trade association for the full scope of the talent acquisition ecosystem. So our members encompass applicant tracking systems, job boards, social media sites, aggregators, job ad distribution companies, mobile app developers, cloud-based solution providers, recruitment advertising agencies, consulting firms, and a whole range of other organizations, all linked by the fact that they use technology to provide state-of-the-art products and services to employers and recruiters. Now, as a trade association, we have a very simple message, and that is to help maximize your success at the bottom line. And to do that, we have built a community of fellow travelers, folks in the same industry, and we provide a number of activities and support assistance to the membership throughout the year. We provide educational content. Of course, we're going to talk more about that when we talk about the TA Tech Industry Congress. We also do a number of research reports on the job board industry, the applicant tracking system segment of the industry, the state-of-the-art in recruitment technology and recruiters and employers. We have working groups that help to define and promulgate standards. For example, what is the definition of a click in pay-per-click advertising? We have a working group focused on that right now. We have a working group on the ever-changing requirements of the OFCCP and how those requirements percolate through employers to our membership. We also provide opportunities for networking. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, we are an advocate for our members with employers and recruiters. To that end, we have a special tab on the website for employers and recruiters. And there we have a number of resources that you can take advantage of or leverage to help you build your brand and increase your sales. One is a speakers bureau. We want to make sure that the folks that are planning corporate meetings for recruiters, the folks that are planning local SHRM conferences and so forth, know about the subject matter expertise among our membership. So this is one of the services that we provide to our members. We promote this speakers bureau out to employers and recruiters on a regular basis through our social media campaign. And do everything we can to get our members up on the platform in front of employers and recruiters so they can strut their stuff. We also have our member roster. It is the largest single listing, all in one place, all at one time, of employment sites and social media sites and blogs and other activities in the talent acquisition ecosystem, and it's completely free. You can search it by an individual site's name, you can search it by its industry, you can search it by its geographic focus. So this is a great resource. Employers use it all the time to identify resources for their recruitment advertising and other talent acquisition activities. We also conduct the Recruiting Service Innovation Awards because we want to strut the very best in our industry to employers and recruiters. These awards really focus on the innovators and innovations in our industry. And the whole idea here is to make sure that employers and recruiters know about the individuals, organizations, products, and services that are working every single day to optimize the recruiter's experience. And as you can see from this list here, it's a veritable who's who of organizations in the industry that were selected as winners last year. The winners were selected from a committee composed of corporate talent acquisition executives and senior recruiters. So it's totally unbiased, and it's an opportunity for all of our members to strut their stuff in front of employers and recruiters. And finally, new for the very first time this year, we are conducting a conference and expo in the fall that directly targets employers and recruiters. We're going to take over the entire conference center at the Palms Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. We're going to have a full program of sessions, and every single one of them will be delivered by a talent acquisition solutions professional. So there's not going to be any intermediary, some conference company standing between you and your customers. This is a chance for you to get up on the podium, demonstrate your expertise, and interact with not only your current customers but prospective ones. And in addition, of course, there will be an exhibition hall. And I'm very pleased to announce, it's not even public yet, we're going to make the official announcement at the upcoming Industry Congress, but I'm very pleased to announce that TA Tech has received authorization from SHRM to be a SHRM recertification provider. In other words, all of the content in the conference will count towards the recertification credits required by HR professionals to maintain their certification. So that goes a long way to ensuring the credibility of the event. And best of all, if anybody registers for this event before the early bird cutoff date of June 15th, we're actually going to cover their hotel stay for free. So we think we put together a heck of a value proposition for that particular event. Now, I mentioned that one of the things that we focused on at TA Tech is education, and I'd like to go to the events page now and just show you quickly the array of conferences that we've put together for this year. We're going to talk in more detail about the Industry Congress in just a moment, but as you can see, we have a leadership summit which will continue our series on programmatic ad buying. This will be the second year that we focused on that. That will be on June 1st at the University of Chicago Graduate School in Chicago. We are also spreading our wings and heading off to the European Union. We're doing a conference called RecTech, which is TA Tech in Europe. We're partnered with the AIM Group to deliver a industry-facing conference similar to our industry conference, but focusing on not just the European Union, but the global talent acquisition marketplace. One of our keynote speakers, for example, will be the CEO of Seek. And finally, the TA Tech Conference and Expo, which I mentioned just a couple moments ago. So let's talk about the Industry Congress. The Industry Congress is the largest gathering of executives and professionals in the talent acquisition solutions industry. If you own or operate or work for a job board, a social media site, recruitment advertising agency, an ATS vendor, a mobile app developer, cloud-based solution provider, you name it, if you're in this industry, this is your conference. And the goal here is to provide the best possible venue so that you can maximize your networking, your business development opportunities, and your education. Now, with regard to two themes to the event, if you'll take a look at the agenda, well, we've tried to maximize your choice. Yes, of course, there will be plenary sessions, so you'll have an opportunity to hear, for example, from Carol McDaniel, who is our opening keynote. Carol is an interesting person. She's worked on both sides of the fence, if you will. She has been on our side of the fence, working for HODIS for many years, and has now moved to the other side of the fence as the head of talent acquisition for Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital there in Orlando. And she's going to talk about her perception of miscommunication and missed opportunities in the interaction between the two sides of the fence, if you will. So we'll have plenary sessions like that, but we'll also have a number of concurrent education breakout sessions. They're focused on technology innovation, they're focused on data and insights, and they're focused on business inspiration. So basically, we're going to have 3 iterations of concurrent sessions. Every one of them is different, so you basically have 9 different programs from which to choose over the course of the conference to ensure that you maximize your take-home value, that you get as much information, as much insight, as much wisdom as possible by interacting with your peers and attending these sessions. In addition, as we always have, and perhaps the most popular part of our event is the chance to mix it up with your peers. We have special interest group moderated discussion tracks, as you can see here. You pick the track that's appropriate for you, whether it's commercial niche sites or association career centers or general employment sites, and have a chance to talk about key issues, key opportunities, key challenges facing those in that particular segment. We also have, in a similar fashion, a hot topic discussion set of conversations going on. And this is in a round-robin kind of format. So basically what we will do is we will cover these 4 topics. How can we make the talent acquisition budget more important to HR and the C-suite? Will the gig economy, with its focus on part-time jobs, disrupt the talent acquisition industry with its focus on full-time employment? What will be the next big thing in talent acquisition solutions? And finally, should our industry be more involved with the candidate experience movement, and if so, how? And we'll basically have a discussion, a 30-minute long discussion on those 4 topics that will rotate every 30 minutes, so you can stay with one topic and hear different people talk about it for the entire 2-hour period, or you can rotate between all 4 of the discussion forums and get a taste for your peers' views and have a chance to express your own in all 4 of those areas. Finally, we're going to have some terrific panels, and I don't want to close before mentioning our other keynote. One of the panels is going to be moderated by Jessica Miller-Merrill, and it's going to be a panel of 2 vendors and 2 talent acquisition solution providers, one large, one small, talking about success. What are the lessons we can learn from really successful partnerships between vendors and their customers? You know, we spend so much time talking about the challenges and the risks and the threats and so forth, but there's also a lot of good news going on in our industry, and this conference this panel, excuse me, is going to take a look at some of that good news and see what lessons we can learn that might be helpful to everyone else. And finally, we also have a keynote presented by one of our industry members. That's Mike Hennessy, the CEO of Smashfly. Smashfly is a recruitment marketing platform, and he's going to talk about his vision for our industry, what he thinks is going to occur over the next 3 to 5 years. So all of that rich content is going to be available to you. You have a lot of choices to make sure that you can maximize your take-home value. And in addition, woven throughout the conference will be a 4th track. And that track focuses on our talent acquisition, or TA Tech Center for Deals and Alliances. We know that in the past, a lot of folks come to this event specifically to build partnerships and do business with one another. And historically, that's occurred in the hallways, around the dregs of the coffee break, in corners of the hallway. It's occurred, but it's not been done in any kind of efficient or effective way. So thanks to the good folks at HR Tech Advisor, we created the Center for Deals and Alliances, which is a venue specifically set aside where you can have a meeting with someone and do so at a private sponsored table, if that's what you would like, or at the open tables, and really have the right environment to have some success, whether you're setting up a partnership or trying to do business with one another. So it's a conference that really not only maximizes your education, but maximizes your opportunity to do business. And we hope that you'll be as excited as we are about the capabilities, the potential value in the Center for Deals and Alliances. And to help you get the maximum benefit from that particular track, I'm going to turn the session over now to Ward Chrisman, who will tell you a little bit more about the Deal Center, as we call it for short, and also about a special meeting and scheduling app that will help you set up meetings and really take advantage of that venue. Ward?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Peter. That was fantastic. And geez, I'm getting all excited about the different things going on in your association this year, and certainly the event coming up in a couple of weeks in here in Orlando. And you can see Larry's joined on the session today as well. And you want to wave to the audience, Larry?
There you go.
Let me switch the presentation over. Here we go. So, okay.
I can see you.
Yeah, okay. No, it says I'm presenting and screen sharing, but how about that? All right. Anyway, we're really excited about all the things going on there, and certainly pleased to be a partner with the association. And what we're going to do here in the second half of this webinar is walk through the pitch and match scheduling tool that we're bringing to the event to help you guys be more effective in making sure you meet up with the right people at the show and that you don't miss that opportunity. So it's a pretty exciting solution. We'll walk through that. And then for those that want to stay on, Larry's going to go through some top 10 tips of how to make your time most effective. Besides using these tools and listening to the sessions, there's some other things that can help you ensure your ROI when it comes to finding good business partners and potentially doing some deals at the show in themselves. So with that, let me switch over to my screen sharing here. And all right. Good. Now you should be able to see that. So the first thing that's going to happen Thursday morning, all the delegates that are signed up for the event, sponsors and delegates, are going to get an email, something like this, which will, of course, showcase the center, the TI Tech Center for Deals and Alliances, and the logos for the sponsors. We still have, I think, is it 3 or 4 tables remaining. There's a number of folks in process. If you have an interest in sponsoring that, I'd act quickly because we're almost sold out. And there's a ton of great benefits. Feel free to follow up after the call if you haven't seen the communication already on that. But the main one is you get your own dedicated table, so you're always guaranteed an opportunity to meet with somebody based on your schedule, and a great place to have kind of an office for those 2 days to set up and have serious conversations. So you'll get an email inviting you to log into the TI Tech Center for Deals and Alliances, the pitch and match software, and what that'll take you to this website, and you simply use your email and the password that you'll get in that message, and you'll be able to then go in and meet with the different attendees, or I'm sorry, ask for meetings with the different attendees and read their profiles, and really pulls everything together for you. Obviously, even if you had the list in advance, you'd have to spend a lot of time surfing LinkedIn and other places to really get a sense for who's going to be there and what are they doing, what do they have to offer. And this also gives you a chance, right now, that these are just some samples, of course, but you'll be able to see all the attendees and the companies that are going to be there. And then once you log in, the first thing you're going to want to do when you get the email Thursday morning is log in and go to your profile, and we'll preload it with some basic information: name, email, your logo, and perhaps a short description based on like your LinkedIn profile or something. But the rest of that we'd like you to complete, and here's why: because when people are searching to see who else is at the show, they can find, they can read your personal profile, what you have to offer to the people. Now, if you're sending a couple delegates, it may be different than what the company itself has to offer, right? So you can describe that there, and also, what are you looking for? What kind of people would you like to meet, and so forth. Now, that was Chris Hemsworth, looking for more beautiful people, I guess, and so forth. But you also have the chance to come in and pick some different types of categories. So maybe you have a solution that helps people save money or time, things like that. You can kind of extend your profile with those categories, and then we've got specific solutions in the industry that might align with the types of solutions you offer and others might be looking for if they want to partner with you. Now, conversely, you can also put down what you're looking for, so that when people are searching, they might find you. In that case, if I'm a video interviewing type organization and you're looking for that, just in case you don't find me, I can see that you're looking for that, and in that case I might reach out to you and request a meeting. And it really just helps expedite that matchmaking process. That Larry and I will be the concierge at the event, helping and available in advance as well. If you have questions, you can reach out to us about that. So it's real simple to just come in here, click edit, again, fill in any of the blanks. If there's something there that needs to be tweaked based on what we preloaded, just go right ahead and make those changes. And here's the different options that you have in terms of your capabilities. If for some reason you don't see something that fits reasonably close, let us know. We'll see if we can add that in. But hopefully you'll find a few different capabilities there. And then if you have a picture, again, we'll put that up there for you as well. And then just click save and you're done. From there on, it's really just a matter of coming in and saying, okay, who else is going to be there that I might want to meet? And you have two approaches. What we recommend first, kind of like if you ever go to an event and you want to network, the best thing you could do really is just to go in and kind of see who's there, kind of canvass the room and then make some mental notes in terms of, okay, I only have an hour, and out of the 100 people here, there's 5 I really want to talk to, so you make a point of finding them. So you can do the same thing online starting Thursday. You can come in, you can do searches if you want, you can scroll through and see who's going to be here. And then what you can do is mark your favorites. So here I've already marked Angelina Jolie, just in case Brad decides to take off or whatever. I'd like to meet with her and have an opportunity to partner. And there's also this advanced search, and this is where I think you might want to spend some time here instead of just browsing the attendee list. Here's where you can come in and say, okay, we'd like to do business with organizations that fill in some of the gaps that our clients would like to some tools they might like to use that we don't have. So let's say, for example, if we're running a job board and some of what our clients might want is some kind of analytics, or maybe they as we talk to them, they keep complaining that they have turnover issues and engagement problems. So maybe there's an engagement platform there we'd like to talk to, things like that. So you can check off what are other people offering, and then you could also do the same thing again in reverse. Say, hey, if somebody's looking for what we have, let's say we have career centers and so forth. We have these different types of tools. You can check those off, and then do a search, and it'll bring back any matches. Which, okay, I guess it's thinking here. Of course, it worked in rehearsal, yeah. Usually it's like instantaneous. I don't know why it's thinking, but maybe I confused it. Let's see. Okay then. Well, that was exciting. We'll come back to the browsing part, which is always available, of course. So let's say, for example, I'm looking to partner with a job board that specializes in beautiful people. I can come in here and see more details about them. In this case, I can see information about the company. I can visit their website, and then I can see there's 2 people represented at the Congress. In this case, I could pick between Chris Hemsworth and Angelina Jolie. That's a no-brainer. I'm going to go look at more information about her. I can see she's a featured, delegate, and it turns out, she's, unbeknownst to her, of course, sponsoring the Deal Center, and so I've marked her as a favorite. And this is how I mentioned you can canvass the room, so you can go through the directory of attendees and mark some as favorite, and then you can come back and then invite them to meetings. So in this case, it's Saturday and Sunday. We've got all kinds of meeting blocks available here. I'd like to meet her actually around lunchtime. Maybe we can break some bread together at the Deal Center. And then, mind if I bring you a sandwich? Whoops. I'll say it's a lunch. Hopefully you don't need to be as corny as I am, but why not? So I can send that request, and she'll get an email saying, hey, somebody wants to meet with you, and then she can come check you out, and you can see it automatically blocks off that time, and here's another meeting I have. So it does a great job of really keeping your schedule up to date, and allows you to not worry about when you're available, when you aren't. You can either pick it this way, or you can just invite somebody, or if they invite you, it would automatically schedule in your next opening. Now, to that end, there might be some sessions that you really don't want to miss, and you want to make sure people don't block that out. So what you could do here is click on the what did I do here? I adjusted my screen size here before the webinar. I think that's what's throwing it off a bit. Normally that's up here in the corner. Okay. Well, anyway, you could block off particular times, and it'll make you unavailable. So if there's a session you want, you just click on the lock, and it'll lock that up for you. And then nobody can book a meeting there. So it's really that simple. At any time, you can come back to, let's go back to the dashboard here, My Pitch and Match. This is where you can see, who you're going to be pitching and who you were matched with and so forth. And I can see I've got 2 meetings coming up. I can look at the details there. I can look at my agenda. And then there's also an option to, I didn't show this to you, but you can actually email your agenda, download a calendar entry, or email the agenda, or even print it out. So if you want to walk in with everything in front of you, you can do that just before you get to the event, perhaps. And we're going to leave this open and running until until the event's over. So even if you have some openings on Sunday at last minute, you want to book something, you can go in. You can say request a meeting, and then you could find the next person. Maybe you want to meet with Dave Duffield, so I'd go ahead and request that meeting. And simple as that. Now in that case, it automatically scheduled me because I didn't say exactly when, and I can see all my meetings here. If I need to reschedule or withdraw, maybe Dave just announced his retirement, and I'd rather meet with somebody else. That's okay too. So feel free to pop any questions into the chat box if you have any that you see here. If you're being bashful, feel free to reach out after the webinar here. Happy to answer any questions. For the sponsors and the delegates that already signed up, we're going to have a dedicated workshop, private, just for the people that are attending the event, and we'll go into more detail with this. You can sit in on that. That'll be Thursday at 1:30, and you'll get an invite tomorrow for that. And feel free to join that if you have that time available. I think that pretty much covers it. Again, any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Again, the key is here, it's going to hopefully make it easier to discover who you really want to meet with, and then also to avoid all the hassles of back and forth emails trying to figure out when to meet, where, and what time and what table, all that. It automatically assigns tables for you. The sponsors get a dedicated table, so you'll know exactly where to go to meet with them. And that's what we do. Expect about maybe as many as 400 or 500 meetings to be scheduled for the 2 days, and we hope you guys are part of that, and you walk out of there with some great success about meeting your next potential partner, or even existing partners if you have some. If you want to make sure you get on, get some time to connect. This is again going to be helpful for that, so that you don't accidentally miss each other during the event, because there's lots going on, lots of great content, as you heard from Peter, and it's just fabulous. So with that, before I pass it on to Larry, Peter, do you have anything to add with what I just walked through here, or any questions you think the audience might be wondering about that we can share?
I think you've covered it nicely, Ward. Thank you very much for that. As I hope you can tell, we've really invested a lot of time and effort in creating the tools and our own partnership with HR Tech Advisors to create a venue that will really be helpful to you as you develop partnerships and do deals with folks at the event, because it is an event that attracts the largest crowd of executives and professionals in our industry. It's a target-rich environment, if you will, for all of you out there that are consultants and bring expertise to bear that can be helpful to the membership, as well as the organizations that have products and services that would align nicely with the portfolio of our members and what they're offering to employers and recruiters. And also those organizations that are looking to lash up and create a single integrated product or service, but one that comes from multiple players in the industry, so that you are able to compete with some of the larger organizations that offer a broader tableau of products and services for employers and recruiters. I mean, all in all, it's just a great opportunity to come to interact with your peers, to do some cross-talking, to get some education, and equally as important, to do some business with one another. So I hope we'll see you all there. Again, the dates are April 16th and 17th in Orlando. So we're hoping for good weather. It's a Disney property, the Swan and Dolphin Hotel, so we're hoping for a really cool venue. And it's on a weekend, and the downside, of course, is that it's on a weekend, but the upside is it doesn't take you out of the office during the business week, and it is also co-located with SHRM, the SHRM Talent Management Conference. So you can come to our event, interact with your peers in the industry, then stay on for SHRM and interact with your current and potential customers. All in all, a great way to spend a couple of days in Florida in April. So I hope to see you all there. Thanks for attending the webinar, and if you have the time, please stay on, because Larry's going to give you a really interesting, some really interesting insights into how best to optimize the partnerships that you set up with other organizations. Larry?
Thank you, Peter. Peter mentioned and showed you the 20 categories of vendors that are captured by TA Tech. We've expanded on that because not all of that is going to be clarified with just picking a category. What I'm going to do over the next few minutes is allow me to switch over here to share screen.
While you're switching over there, I don't know, I had it on my screen, but if you didn't notice, Angelina Jolie actually accepted my meeting, so I'm very excited for that opportunity to talk to her about jobsforbeauties.com, because that sounds like my new partner, I think. Of course, I got to show up looking like Chris Helmsworth, but other than that, yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Ward started by giving you the good news first. I'll give you the bad news, and that is, 80% of the time there is failure in the partnering programs. And what we're going to cover in the next few minutes here is just a little bit of insight on how we can change that around. So as I present here, and everybody sees my screen, I'm going to be covering 10 points very quickly over the next 10 minutes. And part of this comes back to the good news is, hey, this all sounds great. The bad news, if you don't change the way that you approach this, even with the automation, all we're going to do is allow you to automate your chaos more completely. We're attempting to segment the list, so going from that 20 vendor to a larger list is important, because what we're trying to do is to help you select for the journey that you're talking about, that you're looking to do, that best of class that Peter mentioned. We'll talk about the mass personalization messaging that's going to be important, tell you how appointments should be set, they need to be earned. We'll talk about shared rides. We'll talk about dealing with time bandits. One of the big benefits of the solution that we just demoed is, and Ward didn't show it, but you can decline an offer to meet, which is not as easily done when some salesperson walks to your booth and you have to stand there while he pitches you on a product that has no relative importance for you, and it becomes the time bandit. So we'll show you some ideas there, and then 7. Greetings that engage, approachable by design, and no lock on success without good notes and then a post-plan show. So let me quickly start through those, and stick with me here. When we talk in terms of segmenting the list, look at the fact that we're trying to find those vendors that will step up to defy change. Everybody is looking to more of that unified solution. You can't build it all by yourself, and those that have attempted to, they normally will have some weak products as a part of their total offering, and that then can dilute. So if we're looking at what the market is looking for, the number one reason at 92% why employers will change the vendors they work with in HR technology is that they actually are coordinating their efforts together. There is integration, there's opportunity that they see for being a team or a best-of-class solution stack. The step-asides are those that are content with status quo. We want you to avoid those at the show. The step-forwards is, of course, we're trying to find ways to capitalize on the potential. So everything that we do in the pitch and match is attempting towards that segmentation. Channel to optimize distribution. Be thinking as you pick your partners about industry, geographics, about the dilemma that the groups can do. So it's very easy if you have a 1 degree of separation from the dilemma that you're trying to solve in talent acquisition to work with the vendor on the front side of that, or the vendor at the next step in the process to have a more complete solution for the employer. And then you look at the verticals, and then you look at the size of the market. So keep those in mind, and we'll provide some of that insight on the list for selection. Select for the journey. Those vendors that could be motivated to bring your solution into their deals. The reason why there's an 80% failure rate is, unfortunately, most of these programs in the past have started not in a deal center like Pete and Peter have allowed us to work with them to build, but starts in a bar. So there's very little good that can come from something that begins in a bar with too many drinks. A handshake, and then the 80% failure is they might have just been happen chance at the bar. They might think that it was a great pitch, but there's really no plan to execute. So we need to make sure that we select for the journey, that they're motivated to bring your solution into their deals. Part of our effort, Ward and I, we're the trade show concierge. So as a part of this, feel free to ask us questions, not only the use of the product, pitch and match, but during the show and before the show, questions about what your unique needs are. You record them on there, and we can be there to help as well, bringing you to those people that are best fit. Where do they fall on the collaboration spectrum? This is very important. TA Tech has historically been an interesting association in that it has been very cooperation and competition. So it's not that unusual for competitors to be working very closely together to share traffic, to share insight, to share data. So it's a natural for Ward and I to be involved as members in this association because they already have an idea where one of the best places is more not just complementary opportunities of working together, but when groups have a coopetition, that brings about an additional element of tension that is beneficial for making deals. When you're working with somebody that can be competing with you to a small extent, it opens up to the fact that you want everything in writing, that you have a clear purpose, and that you expect execution. So it's a positive that we are an association where there's coopetition as already a part of the trade. Mass personalization of messaging. Plan to communicate dynamics of each other's solution. When you look at the different ways that you can personalize that messaging, look on Trust Radius or G2 Crowds or Glassdoor as to some of these vendors, and you'll get an idea of what is good about them and what might not be so good. When it's getting your message out, you might use a sponsor of ours, HR Marketer, which has a tool called Get It Done, which is a great tool for personalizing some mass communications in the social media world. But don't just do blast emails. We're already getting those emails, and you'll be getting them in your boxes. We don't want these long emails that are just about what the product features are. Be thinking in terms of what dilemma it actually accomplishes. Be careful, number 4, about the appointments. Don't schedule an appointment unless you've earned it. And you've not earned it unless you've done the first 3. You want to look at what they do. You want to make sure it makes sense to share the cab, and the destination is the same for both vendors. You want to make sure that your list is segmented to target in. Don't leave people thinking, why are they asking for this meeting? You have to be very, very clear in your approach, and you earn it. In the trade show, what we're trying to do is to be fair. So on to shared rides. The collaboration that exploits each partner's value proposition, that's where it really works. Our partner, the Association for Strategic Alliance Professionals, is coming out with a study soon, and in the next couple of months. But what the already preliminarily shows is that 80% failure rate is actually an 80% success rate when people are taking their careers and their responsibilities and collaboration alliances seriously. So their membership is of course all about more collaboration. So that can be learned by just following some of these key points and doing a little bit more planning from that perspective. And that's, of course, Ward and I's profession is to try to get our partners in the middle of more deals. We don't want to put them in the wrong deals. So make sure it works. Dealing with time bandits and who to ignore. Be ready to come up with a disengaged statement. Don't be too brash or too forceful with your nose, but explain to someone that uses pitch and match why you don't see the fit. But that's one of the big opportunities here. You don't have to listen to a 4-minute presentation, or in this case a 20-minute presentation, if it makes no sense and they haven't proven a value to it up front. Now, with that said, Ward and I also will help you refine some of those messages, because some groups, like some of our clients that are going to be at the show, they're in a category of 1, so it's a very unique, it's a non-category, some of the things that they're doing. So we want to make sure that we help them, create that message, and they don't become one of those time bandits that are being ignored. That's why their greeting, number 7, needs to be engaging. The SWWC, so what, who cares? If you can't use that, if you can ask that question of yourself after you've done your typed out engaging statement, or what you've put onto pitch and match as to what you're looking for and who you are and what you can do for companies, you have to have that filter. Because when you filter it with so what, who cares, and you refine your messages and your greetings, your end result is going to be much better. So, and it's not who you know, but what you know about who you know is how you change so what, who cares. Because you already know enough about them to make sure that the message focuses in on something they would care about. So the end result, if everyone is moving forward together, then success will take care of itself. That's what we're trying to accomplish. Number 8, accessible by design, yet aggressively helpful. Come with your trade show concierge insight. In our situation, we have staff that spends 150 hours a week doing nothing but researching the HR world community, mostly HR tech, but it's the HR vendor world. And that gives us some great insight, and that's going to be part of what we actually bring into the solution of Pitch and Match. So it's going to be much more comprehensive. Now, you'll have the opportunity to edit anything that we provide there for you, but the idea is at least that's what we think you are, and if we're wrong, please correct us. But approach it by design, and come to the show with, the opportunity to step into the aisle like a trade show, like a concierge in a hotel, and say, "May I help you?" Number 9, no lock on success without good notes. Ward and I are great in keeping our database clean. Now, we didn't outsource the cleaning of our database. We still figured that so far this year, collectively between the two of us, we've put about 500 hours into actually cleaning and keeping things up to date. Ward is excellent at putting it into text fields. I'm excellent in creating tags. We have 139 different tags in our database, so that's why we had to cut back and compromise between the two listings. But the end result is the ability to quickly know what's the next step in the process. So good notes are going to be important. So, we ask that as you go through this process, don't come back with a bunch of cards that don't have good insight on them, and put them in the system as quickly as possible. And that brings us to number 10, which is the post-show plan. The best practices, we've talked a little bit about these, but it is the selection, the expectation. It's in the execution. It's in some type of KPIs that you want to look at as to how you're following up on these. So if you're not recording where you found these cards, if you're not recording an opportunity that you're trying to meet, which is I want to connect with everybody within 30 days, then you're missing a lot with the value of your trade show. Whether it's a sponsorship, which is a $2,000 commitment for the tables in our area, and the extra support that Ward and I provide to those sponsors, or if it's just showing up to have a few ad hoc meetings. Make sure that you have a plan to follow up. And so I leave you with the comment of solution stacking our way to a mutually strengthened network. That is the direction that we see the market going in, is solution stacking or best of class. So the only way that we do that is we make sure that we have no weak links in it, and if you've done your homework, then theoretically you're going to be in that 80% success rate on partnering rather than the 80% failure rate that historically is what's happened with the research that we've done in surveying the HR tech community. So at this point, I want to turn it back over to Ward. And if there's any questions that have been typed in, we'll answer them at this time if we still have time.
I don't see any questions this time around, Larry, but nice job on the top 10. It's a great refresher for me, and certainly hopefully helpful to the audience. And we're excited about seeing everybody in the next, what is it? Geez, it's less than 2 weeks away. It's going to be very exciting, and a couple hundred people are going to be swarming the hotel, so get ready. Hopefully these tips will be helpful. If anybody wants the deck, just shoot us a quick note. We'll send you a link to it. And I don't know if Pete, do you have any closing comments, or should we just wrap it up?
No, I thank you, Ward, and I thank you, Larry, for your presentation. And as co-chair of the Congress, I'm very excited to see everybody down there in about 10 days.
Fantastic. Well, thanks everyone for attending today, and we'll see you at the show.